this is all the proof that you need to convey why Chris Schuler is one of the great defensive coordinators in the NFL and why he's about to be a future head coach. So we got 3rd and 8 here early on in the game. Tampa versus LA. Tampa's just coming out in simple 11 personnel. We got 2x2. Nothing too crazy. We're in the gun, whatever. LA right here is presenting cover 3. You got the middle field close player, got the corners in this zone, off alignment. But what LA is actually going to do is they are going to run a 3 bars fire zone. So what is a 3 bars fire zone? Basically, we're going to get this guy playing as the Fox safety. What is a Fox safety? He's taking anything in that deep middle part of the field. So post, anything like that. If you get like a seam route that gets deep, he's going to be onto that, right? Anything middle deep. So the buzz aspect of 3 bars fire zone, this guy's just going to come down here, play that strong hook region. And fire zone, meaning we're going to have 5 guys pressuring. 5 guys coming after the quarterback. And we're not exactly going to get it in this manner that's presented pre-snap, as I'll get into later. So, Tampa, on the other hand, is going to run a simple dagger concept to the strength. So we're going to get this sort of inside release seam. We're going to get this dig as well. And this is a good play call against cover 3, right? Why? Because that seam, he's going to be not him. This guy who's going to come into the Fox safety, come into the deep middle third, he is going to be influenced by that seam. And then if we're just looking at leverage, right, purely from a leverage perspective, it's cover 3, right? The zone principles. He's in outside leverage, zone technique. So just naturally running a dig is going to be really difficult for this corner to stop with that leverage. So that's why we have a pretty good call here. And then backside, they're just going to run curl, slant, nothing too crazy. And you'll see why the backside doesn't really matter on this play because of what we're going to get from LA. Now, the problem is, before I move on to the pressure, Tampa is not going to have any hot rules for this play. They're neglecting hot, right? Being hot. What being hot means, if we are +1, so what +1 means is if we have an extra rusher that we can't account for in the protection scheme, one of these receivers has to adjust their route and run something as a quick hitter so we can get yardage. So, for example, Egbuka, who's running this seam, number 2, if he can just recognize the fact we're hot and then run a little curl, something like that, hook, that's what being hot means, right? They don't do that. So, another thing that I'd like to point out is how Chris Schuler, after all, this is his video, disguises. So, Baker right here, we're thinking cover 3, right? Just purely cover 3. You can't disguise as well in middle field closed. I'm thinking, we got probably maybe a fire zone because of the front. Cover 3. If we just look at the way this safety is kind of rotating, he's creeping to that middle field spot. But because this rotation is going to happen at the snap, and because he's sort of still, in this quarters safety region, right? A cover 3 middle field safety is right there in that middle field region between the hashes or whatever. He's kind of looking like a quarters safety here. And it's not until the snap that he's actually really going to rotate, right? So Baker's probably thinking, okay, got my eyes on him. We might be getting some sort of quattro zone, which is a quarters fire zone. Or, we might be getting quarters, cover 2, whatever, right? But as you're going to see, he's actually really going to start heavily favoring that middle field region once the snap actually takes place, and he's going to be buzzing down. So that's everything from a coverage standpoint. Where the beauty comes from this play, if we can get to the end zone angle, you're going to see Baker's just going to have to throw this one away pretty much. is this front and this pressure and what it does. So I need to do some explaining before we watch this. So what's going to happen? We got 5-man front, right? 5-man front. We got five guys across this line. What that's going to create is 5-0 blocking. What is 5-0 blocking? Well, it's the most simple blocking scheme, pass protection wise, in football. He's got him. 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 So we're just creating 1v1 matchups, right? And also, if I can just play this really slowly, might have just gone ahead of it slightly. We're in a 6-man protection scheme. And if you can see Bucky Irving's fingers right here, what that means is he has a dual read to the perimeter. What is a dual read, you may ask? So he's reading, you can see his fingers pointing towards this direction. This sort of safety or linebacker, whatever he is, number 8 or number 2, I'm not really sure. If he blitzes, right, he has to block him. And he's checking in to out, because there's an apex defender out of the picture here. He's checking in to out who I need to block, right? If these guys come on a pressure, I need to block them. Problem is, this is a 6-man protection scheme, right? If both come, he has to take the innermost threat. So the guy that's through, the closest gap to the quarterback. So I just need to establish that. So they're going man-for-man blocking, 5-0, and they've got a dual read right there. So what LA is going to do, and again, it's the minute details, just like the disguise, that makes this defense so great. As soon as Baker lifts his knee here and puts his cleats in the ground, you're going to see it there. This defensive tackle is going to sense that the snap's coming. He's going to shift, align in this sort of 2 technique. What does that do? A-gap right here. Wide ass open. So what's actually going to happen on the snap? We're going to get these 2 guys dropping out. He's going to slant into that A-gap heavily, which is going to create a very easy vertical path for number 2 to come in and get pressure, right? Rachaad White, is going to have to take him. So why are we slanting into the A-gap here? It's because we're just going to get... We see how he's aligned right over the tackle. We're just going to get a really simple downhill vertical path. It's such a quick path. So we're going to get Bucky right away in protection, right? There's not going to be any time for Baker. He's going to be striking him straight away. And then we're going to get the overhang or the apex off the screen, screaming right through as well. So we're going to get Bucky quickly engaged in blocking, and then we're going to get the other defender coming right through with pressure. So... football is a simple game, right? We talk about these X's and O's, but after all, right, I'm just going to roll it quickly. If we look right here, how many guys are Tampa blocking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many guys they have in protection, sorry. How many guys are LA rushing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an overload pressure, right? We are getting a free hitter with 1 less rusher than they have blockers. And, it's Chris Shula. It's great, right? This is what good defensive coordinators do. We have a numerical mismatch, right? Mathematically, this play shouldn't work, right? We shouldn't get a free hitter, but we do because of the front, because of the way the pressure is designed, right? And again, as I stated previously, the problem with Tampa here is that because we're running a dagger and we have no one hot, we have no one adjusting their route, right? Because Baker gets all this horizontal depth, right, towards the sideline, that guy right there is the dig player. He just cannot throw that across his body. And, it's over from there, really. You're going to have to try a scramble drill, but there's a lot of guys in the way here of those 2 guys in red. So he's just going to have to throw it away. And that's exactly why Chris Shula is a future head coach in the NFL.